If you want to build wealth but aren't sure where to start, there's a fairly simple formula that you can use. And in part one of this series, I talked about the four types of wealth. So make sure to check that out. I will link that in the description. Basically, though, what you want to do is use the active income that you're making today to build passive income and investment income, and then know how to wisely manage the windfalls that come your way. And that is like a very basic formula, but one that's very much stood the test of time and lets you use every little bit of your money that you're making to make sure that in the future that you're achieving financial independence, that you have a comfortable retirement, and that your future self will thank you for the decisions that you're making with your active income that you're making off your job today. So let's break this equation down a little bit, shall we? So the first thing to know here is that active income, like we talked about in my other video, is the money that you're making off your day job and off your 9 to 5, the business that you own, for example, maybe a couple jobs that you're working, but you're trading your time for money. And so what you want to do with your active income is really try to maximize that income. So do your best to negotiate for a raise at work if you're able to, or hunt around if your job is not paying you comparable to what you could be making with someone else who's also in the industry. Look around to see maybe if a lateral job shift would be able to bring in more income for you. If you're a business owner like I am, then start really working through how you can maximize your profits off your business. And if necessary, maybe look at hiring a business coach. If you're really not happy with the way that your skill sets are being reimbursed in today's society in which we live, and you want to make more money, start doing some research on maybe if shifting industries altogether would help, so that then you could make more money working just as hard as you're working now, but get into an industry that's paid better just in general. And that can be very helpful too, because I have to say, it is not about how hard you work. And I have a really interesting story that illustrates this. So over the summer, I was doing a lot of home renovations and home improvements to our house in the wake of some hail damage that we had. And I had several teams who were working on painting and roofing who were just so incredible. Their work ethic put me to shame. I have never in my life worked as hard as these lovely people who were working on my home. They would show up before dawn. They would stay until after dusk. They were working in very difficult conditions with the heat over the summer. And we were very fortunate that we didn't have anything that was so hot that I wouldn't allow them to work on my property, because I never allow people to work for me in a way that would endanger their safety or their health. But just really suboptimal conditions all the way around, and hard work. And they just had such a great attitude. They were so pleasant to be around and so hardworking. And so I share this story just to illustrate that you can be incredibly hardworking and not make enough money to ever become wealthy or be able to achieve financial independence. So hard work alone with this active income is not enough. It's also about being smart about what you're working on, and make sure that in the society in which we live, that what you're working on is something that's going to be well reimbursed and well paid. Or if it's not, generally speaking, then find a way to transform that into something that's well paid. For example, teaching is often an industry that's not well paid and well reimbursed in our society. I have a real appreciation for all the teachers out there, and shout out to if we have any teachers here watching today. But it's something where teaching is not paid nearly as well as they should be. And so for a lot of people, they will take their teaching skills, for example, and they'll take them to Patreon, or they'll take them here to YouTube, they'll take them to Instagram. And all of a sudden, they're making far more money than your average teacher, just because they're able to bump out their audience outside of just their classroom in their town to the entire globe. And so that having that international reach can be very helpful if you're in an industry that you love, but just isn't paying you well enough. So lots of different things there, but it's all about, when it comes to active income, it's about working not just like hard and lots of hours, but also finding a way to make your work love you back and be able to make sure that you're being paid in a way that you're happy and that frees up money to do the next step here. So the next step is that active income alone isn't enough. And so the way I like to think about this is when you think about wealth, it's kind of like a let's say a four-legged stool, but we're kind of not going to count on the fourth leg because that would be the windfall money that's gifts and winnings and so forth. Let's just focus on the main legs though. So we have your active income, your passive income, and your investment income if we're looking at the three-legged stool. And those are the things that are going to hold you up in your financial life. So we've talked about the active income piece and how important it is to maximize how much you're able to make, whether at your job, at your business, and so forth. The second leg is passive income, and so that's going to add stability and support you even when you're not working. So it's going to be things like income from rental properties that you receive rent every month. It's going to be things like royalties from books or creative works that you have produced that you're getting royalties from. If you're on a monetized YouTube channel, maybe you're getting advertising revenue. So anything where the money's just kind of flowing in without you having to trade your time for their dollars is very helpful to have as well. And an absolutely critical piece is something I'm really passionate about, helping people build passive income. It can even be from, say, an Etsy shop, things like this. The third leg of the stool here is investment income. And so investment income, you can think about it as yet another leg that helps stabilize that stool. And it is income earned by growing your money through assets like stocks, real estate, bonds, things like this. And this would be just anything that's going to be able to turn back around and really yield good investment dividends over time. When I say real estate too, this is a little different from owning a rental property, where here we're talking about real estate appreciation. So let's say you own that rental property, you're renting it out for 20 years, and then you sell it. And the proceeds from that sale would be investment income that you've built over letting that home appreciate over time. And so investment is really great. Now, of course, I always like to put the caveat out there that you can lose money as well as make money with investing. So it's really important to both educate yourself and work with a qualified investment and financial advisor if you're new at this, just to be able to learn the ropes so that you don't go thinking everybody who invests makes lots of money, because that is not the case. There are a lot of people who invest and don't have the skill sets and don't have the knowledge and promptly lose it all. So really, really key to proceed with caution there, but it's a hugely important way to build your wealth over time. So that's those three legs. Now, the fourth leg that we said we're not necessarily going to be leaning on very hard because we don't want to plan on luck for our financial planning purposes is windfall income. Now, windfall income is any kind of winnings, gifts, checks people send you in the mail. Maybe you entered a sweepstake and won something. All of these types of things where it's just money that just basically just came into your life and you didn't have to work for it, and it was either a gift or a winning or an inheritance. And so that is that fourth leg. Now, if you have a windfall and you manage it wisely, it can really help to stabilize your financial stool. However, the main reasons, among other things, that I don't like to count on it is that A, you might not get a windfall. B, then the problem is that a lot of times people who have large amounts of wealth that come into their life suddenly don't know how to manage it, understandably, don't know what to do with it. So they end up spending it all, and then it's gone again. Studies show that lottery winners often have spent all of their money in the first decade after they won, no matter how many millions and millions and millions of dollars that they won. And you'd think, how is that even possible? Well, there's always more things we can spend on. So really key to not plan on that windfall leg of the stool, but if it comes, great. So again, that's the equation of being able to start really building solid, meaningful wealth and working your way towards financial independence is use your active income that you're making today to then fund your passive and investment income. And then if you have a windfall, make absolutely sure that you manage it wisely, get help managing it. There are lots of financial planners and financial advisors who will be happy to help you if you suddenly come into a big inheritance and feel a little bit overwhelmed. And so that way you can get guidance so that it gets allocated correctly and you're not just spending it all because it suddenly showed up, and you just don't have you're not in the mindset to be allocating that towards savings and investments as well. So that is something that you can really kind of think through. Let me know too, kind of as you're thinking all of this through, what's your favorite type of income? If you had to choose just one, I'd be curious to hear from you in the comments. Which one is your favorite and which one do you enjoy the most kind of working with? Is it active, passive, investment, or windfall? I'd be really curious to hear from you. And again, until next time, may your journey be filled with abundance, your efforts rewarded with prosperity, and your mindset aligned with lasting wealth. I'll see you again soon.